Rick, what made Ben Mathurin, or what allowed him to have the fourth quarter he did and put you guys in position to win?
Well, we were desperate. We got down 11, I think it was, and we just needed to spread the floor out, and we needed to get downhill and attack. Their switching became a problem, and so we needed to create space. And Ben is one of the best guys I've seen at driving an angle, creating contact, and then many times he finishes. So his fourth quarter was enormously important. The sequence at the end of the game where Pascal steals the ball and Drew hits the three to give us the lead. Obviously, that's the biggest play of the game. But our guys just hung in. These games coming up are all going to be like this. They're just these teams coming in here are attacking teams, and you've got to take the fight to them. And we did a pretty good job in the first quarter. Then we had a let up, and then of course the third and early fourth was very poor. And fortunately we were able to get things back together. But you can't make a living with this kind of inconsistency. So we've got to be better tomorrow.
How often do you guys work on that press trap, and what impressed you about the execution there in the last minute?
Well, we do work on it, but there's not a lot of practice time right now. And so we have terminology. We had one mix-up. We fouled when it was a 3-point game with 48 seconds or whatever it was. That was just an error, but the guys were aggressive and they almost had a steal. So recognition of those situations in the heat of the moment is challenging because there's so much going on. But for the most part, our execution lately at the end of quarters, at the end of games has been improved.
I know you mentioned bringing the fight to them. What's you flipped in the negative direction on the defensive end, especially in the second half of this one?
In the negative? Well, they spread us out and drove us, and the whistle started blowing, and they got momentum, and it became very difficult. And so, we gotta learn from this. Tomorrow's there are similar challenges with tomorrow, but they're different types of players, and it's gonna be another major fight.
You obviously mentioned the steal by Pascal. Just how big of a moment is that for Nembhard as well after he misses a free throw that's pretty key to come back and hit a big shot in that moment like he did?
Yeah. Look, it's a process game, and there's 82 games. There's, 10,000 possessions, offensive possessions in an NBA game. You miss a free throw, big deal. What's the next thing you got to do? We just got to move on to the next thing. And Drew's a fearless guy. How many big threes has he hit, in the last 3 years? He's been a guy that's always ready for those moments. And so do we need to shoot free throws better? Yeah, we do. But it's men, not machines. And sometimes the ball's not going to go in. P.J. Washington missed one, toward the end. It happens.
You mentioned their switching early become a problem. I guess is that the biggest thing that changed in terms of you guys' ability to score at the paint? I think you were 16 of 18 in the lane in the first half.
Well, yeah, look, our defense became a problem because of our offense, and our offense was a problem because of our defense. Now, I'd have to go and back and look at it to tell you what the exact tipping point was, but they got juiced up and they got some mojo, and when NBA players do, and look, they got some dudes over there, man. P.J. Washington is some player. His dunk down the lane, oh my God, they're that. And Marshall got going, and Hardy. I told you guys before the game, he's a bucket. Those guys all had over 20, and so, all of a sudden, we had a tiger by the tail, and so we needed to start getting some stops, keeping them off the free throw line, and then we had to manufacture some points, and Mathurin did a great job of it. Drew got to the free throw line, I think, once or twice. And, if nothing else, getting to the free throw line, it allows you to, score with the clock stopped and set your defense.
You mentioned earlier the guys just hanging in there. I mean, obviously to have wins like you guys have just had back to back. Obviously, this wasn't the best performance you guys have had, but the continued ability for this team to show that it's got that kind of moxie down the stretch, or just how important is it to have a team that's established as having that as you're getting toward playoff time?
Yeah, I mean, resilience is a key part of being opportunistic, and so, the last, 8 days, we've won 3 very, very close games that could have easily gone the other way. And so, got to give the guys a lot of credit for that on the one hand. On the other hand, there are some things in those games where maybe it shouldn't have been that close. So we got to constantly study it. We have to, we set standards, and we need to work to maintain standards. And when you do that, the score is not the final score is not the thing. I mean, you can win a game and fail meeting standards, and you have to address those things. So otherwise it becomes a negative feedback process.
Rick, what'd you think of the way Aaron kind of helped you just keep the rope there in the fourth quarter, made 2 threes, and then Six is facing there and gets fouled, and obviously turnover and free throws and win the game?
Yeah, the play where he stuck his face in there, that was key. That was key. Look, the 2 threes were huge. They were enormous plays because nothing was coming easy. They had some mix-ups in transition, I think, on both plays. And, Aaron's been shooting the ball great. And so we desperately needed those 6 points. And then defensively, I mean, he's just a gritty guy, and his compete level's always there.
Ben, I think I heard you just tell Pat Boylan that you needed to beat Bennedict Mathurin late for you guys to win this one. What does that mean to you, and what do you feel like you did well down the stretch?
It's being a dog. Nah, just going out there and playing hard, just giving my 50%, and just having my teammates back. So, I mean, I feel like that's pretty much what I did today. I was able to grab how many rebounds? Yeah, enough rebounds for us to get the win.
Those key steals you guys had on those press traps, how often do you guys work on those and in those sequences? I know it's a scramble. What do you think of what you guys were able to do to keep you guys in it?
We were able to stick to the game plan. We practiced this, so we were able to, to do it in the game. And I feel like, we had a pretty good understanding of what was happening, what was the situation. I feel like we weren't, supposed to be in that situation at first. But, at the end of the day, we were able to win the game, and we're going to go when the season ends, and we're going to be like, yo, that's a win that, that was worth it. So
I think you've said that twice now. Weren't supposed to be there. Does that, to you, mean the way you guys played in the second half, just a team you thought you should have done better against? Why do you feel like you shouldn't have?
I just feel like, we were up by double digits, basically the whole game. So we just got to be able to keep the the edge on the other team and be able to close out the win.
You obviously were able to get to the paint a lot, and certainly, in the fourth for most of those 16 points. I mean, just what made it difficult for you guys kind of up until that stretch? What were they doing well to kind of keep you away from it, and how were you able to kind of just get through their defense and get some opportunities there?
I feel like it's hard when you have plays called for you. Everybody expect you. You know what I'm saying? Like, so everybody's gonna adjust to what you're doing. Compared to just when you play, you move the ball and stuff like that. You get to create openings for your teammates, and I was able to get to the paint. Get to the paint, and there's that one time where I almost got to the rim, and I almost tripped and I threw the ball out. Like, those kind of plays we were able to get in the second half.
How did you feel like you guys were able to sort of dial up the defense after you struggled, especially in that
Say
first?
it one more time.
Where did you feel like, how do you feel like you guys were able to dial things up defensively after you had some struggles, obviously, in the third and fourth in particular?
I just feel like it's personal. I think we have to be able to understand who does what, and we were able to figure it out. It was kind of late, but just the game is really imperfect. You know what I'm saying? We have to find every little things that we can get, to our advantage and be able to win a game.
Just, obviously there's 2 games you could be able to pull off in the last couple of days and just kind of wild circumstances. Just what's it say about this group of guys that, when it's been that tight, you guys have been able to pull it out?
You know what? I feel like everybody knows we have depth on this team. You know what I'm saying? But it just shows those kind of wins shows how together we are as a team. You know what I'm saying? And Miles went out the game, and he was the first one to come out the bench. Just to cheer on people, on Tony Bradley. So, I mean, we have guys who are willing to go out there and play for each other. There's no jealousy. If he does well and I'm not doing well, everybody is happy to see everybody succeed.
Basically, this entire year, you have led your team in fourth quarter scoring, 16 more points tonight in the fourth. What is it about the fourth that really has got you going and has allowed you to step up this year?
I don't want to be that, I don't want to say it like that, but I love playing when it's, tough games. I think that's where I thrive the most. I love when it's, difficult. And I'm trying to, do a better job. But when the game is too easy, I have to adapt to that. But I love going through those moments. I love going through those games where you really have to work for it. And it wasn't pretty, but at the end of the day, I'm going home with a win.
Ben, Rick said that you can't make a living off of this level of inconsistency in these last few games. So what is the balance of you never apologize for a win, but realizing there's a higher standard for this team?
Like I said, the main thing is to win games. No matter how we win the game, no matter what happened, no matter how, what we do to win the game. The main thing is to win the game. So I feel like, we were able to play as a team, and the crowd got into it, in the last few minutes. So it was good.
Andrew, take me to that final shot. You hit the three to give you guys the lead. What was going through your head, and how good it felt after you guys were trailing for so much of that fourth quarter to see that go down?
Yeah, nothing was going through my head. I just shot it, caught it, shot it. Yeah.
Ever get routine from that exact spot late in games?
I didn't have enough time to think about it, but I guess that's my lucky spot.
What'd you guys flip in the last minute and a half or so defensively to be able to come back after a kind of rough half on the defensive end in that second half?
Sorry, say that again.
What'd you guys flip on defense in that last minute and a half to get enough stops to win after a rough defensive second half before that?
I don't even know if it was that great down the stretch. I think we flipped the switch offensively that led us to better setups on defense. We were playing more downhill offensively. Fouled a little too much in my opinion, but got the stops we needed at the right time to win it.
16 points for Bennedict Mathurin in that fourth quarter. How much did you guys need him to do that, and what stood out about the way he was able to do it?
We needed exactly that much from him because we won by a possession maybe, and we kind of changed the formula down the stretch to kind of attack and spread it out a little bit more and get away from ball screens, and it was great. I think we had the right mentality.
You guys have obviously based a lot of what you've done on defense on, full court pressure and stuff. But, what, the trapping stuff in the last minute is obviously a different kind of ballgame. What do you feel like you guys did well in those circumstances, obviously coming up with two massive steals to turn that game? Just what impressed you by how that came together there?
Yeah, we did a good job of understanding the circumstance and then executing it without fouling in those possessions. We also did it one time where we probably shouldn't have. I think we were only up down 3. We fouled them 40 seconds left. So we talked about how that was a mistake, and going forward we're going to switch that up. But good job being solid and running around and trying to make something happen.
So obviously part of that has always been you guys have kept your big guys in pressure and basically asked guys like Pascal and even Miles to defend 94 feet, and Pascal's the guy who comes up with the steal there. How much do you think just what's been asked of them this year kind of leads to, Pascal getting a steal like that when you had to have it?
Say that again.
Just the fact that they've been asked to press all year, do you think that helps a guy like Pascal be in that situation?
Yeah, I think maybe maybe the more reps makes him more comfortable picking up full court like that. In that position is kind of like you can't really do anything else in that position. You're kind of put in a spot where you got to be up and you got to try to force a turnover. So he can move his feet, he's long. It's kind of nice to have those guys up there too because of their length.
You mentioned Ben before. Obviously, you guys went a stretch, especially in the third quarter, where you had a hard time getting the ball in the lane after you were able to get there a lot in the first half. What did they change and do differently, and what did you guys have to eventually figure out, just basically to get better drives and get opportunities in the paint?
We went away from ball screens. They're switching 1 through 5. We ended up just kind of driving them a little bit more. I think that was the best adjustment we made down the stretch, just to open up the lane and not allow their switching and paint defense to kind of take us out of stuff.
What did you kind of see just break down defensively beginning of the second half?
I think our competitiveness, I don't know if the word is exactly, but our energy or something wasn't fully there. I think we were kind of just going through the motions a little bit, and allowed a team like that to get confidence on a night where they had a lot of their starters or best players out. So just not mature enough in that second half to start.
All the same, still, obviously, you guys are able to pull off 2 pretty wild wins in the course of 3 days. I mean, and you've had some big ones before, but what does this just say about where this group mentality is, its ability to, kind of summon something like that in the fourth quarter? Just what's it say about this group that you're able to string a couple wins like that together?
Yeah, I think, we're going to try to play till the end type of thing, but, we'd rather not be in those positions. Those are kind of like, if you look at this line, we probably were at like a 90% chance to lose at multiple points in some of these games, so we don't want to be in those positions. Want to be more consistent and us for the whole stretch of the game, instead of going through lulls of where we're good for 5 minutes and terrible for 2 and then good for another 2. So we want to just be more consistent throughout the whole game, put our will onto people.
Andrew, what is the balance of that? Because obviously you don't apologize for winning, but there's a higher standard. Rick Carlisle was saying that. So what is that balance like for you as a player?
I think we all know it. I think it's easy to balance because we all hold ourselves accountable and try to get better. So a night like this is, you're obviously happy about the win, but understand that the process of getting to that win was not necessarily our best effort.